is no antidote. There 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 is no antidote.
Good evening, Peculiars. Welcome to tonight's show. I have some very exciting things that are going to happen on this show. For one thing, we have an amazing guest. And for another, Susan Huang, who has done music for us before, has come back to write a song just for this book. And we have a special cocktail. So oh my goodness, all the things, plus a Davy quiz. Davy is ready, but Davy is also maybe a little less ready than usual.
I'm barely ready tonight. We got that flu bug going around. It hit me this morning like a ton of bricks. So I'm not in my normal spot, as you can see. But the beauty of doing the show on the couch is I do get my show co-host here, the co-host keeping me company. So we'll see if Kenobi's paws are clean by the end of the show.
he'll be all set and ready. So I've already seen a lot of people here. We have Kristen, who's from Seattle, which is also where our author is from. Amanda saying she couldn't miss this one because she recommended Eve by Cat. Sureka is here. She's stepping in from overseas, and we have Sharon from Ohio. And
I also felt
she's very sorry for you.
I felt like I couldn't miss this one because when you commit to a 16-hour audiobook, like you want to see it through, right?
You do.
You want to see it through.
It was a great audiobook, though, too.
It was really good.
So anyway, without further ado, allow us to bring on our amazing guest, Cat.
Hi, Cat.
Hello. You stepped out of the ink explosion.
I did.
Yes, it was very nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kristen Meston says, no joke, the audiobook took me 8 days to get through.
Well, it took me 10 years to write, bitches. So.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Nah, it was fun. It was fun. It was great doing the audiobook too. It was absolutely a learning curve.
Yeah.
Learning how to perform over and over in a small chair in that studio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That must have felt like ages doing that. And Sadie says hi, by the way. Sadie Simmons.
Hi.
And
we love hearing about the experience of doing audiobooks because Brandy's recorded them. I've edited them and produced them. Were your editors tough on you?
No. So I tried to get out of some work by being like, you decide which footnotes are going to stay in. I had a few. And so what she did is she just put them all up into the main text. So I was having to live decide. I was like, no, that's too long. So I was live editing while I was doing the thing. I was trying to see what jokes land by just seeing if the engineer liked them. It was interesting. It's just like me and my tech. We were close.
There you go.
That's good. I like that. Sadie has just mentioned in all caps, look at those earrings. For those of you who are listening to the podcast, look at these earrings. We're zooming in. Look at these babies.
Oh,
where did you get those? Tell us about these earrings.
These are Isabelle Marant or Marant. My French is terrible. I am sorry to all of France and parts of Africa, but they are great. She's a great designer. She does amazing earrings. I have a lot of this topiary that lives on my head, this hair thing. So small earrings are pointless. There is no reason for me to put anything smaller than 6 inches.
Well,
near my face in general, actually. We'll just put that out there. No, yeah.
They're very architectural. Actually, I've gotten into big earrings partly because I have no hair. And so I feel like you need some, visual cues, right?
Maybe big earrings are just good.
Maybe they're just good. Yeah, I agree with that.
There's going to be a point. There's going to be a point, Brandy, as your hair grows back in, where we're going to have the same haircut for an episode.
I know it's coming. It's coming.
Oh,
it's coming.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, unlike socks, it's not like you can swap out things. It's not like you can trade just because you have the same hair. Now, I did make our themed cocktail. Sorry that it's in an absurdly giant cup. It's not all of this, people. It's just here. It's like a reasonable amount of alcohol that I flash infused, remembering that I had to, but I did. And it is a hot toddy, basically. Loving it.
That's beautiful stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. Hot girl summer, hot toddy spring.
hot in Seattle at the moment, as I understand it. Strangely hot.
It is. It's nice, actually. We're just going to call it spring.
We're just gonna call it spring. Yeah, we keep having winter and second winter, which is how we do that in Ohio typically, followed by spring and then third winter, and then usually it might be spring after that. But you have just given us an absolutely great segue into our announcements, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into those. Just a reminder to all of you out there, put your questions into the chat now, because it takes a minute for it to catch up. So while we're doing the announcements, get your questions going, and then we'll come back and answer them. So announcements. First of all, we are everywhere that there's a social media platform, almost at this point. We've got lots of things. The Discord is actually picking up some speed. I think a lot of people abandoning Facebook are finding their way there. So we have Discord, we have Facebook. While Facebook can be a dumpster fire, we do have a private group, and that means we vet that, and so we keep the haters out, and it's a nice safe space. But you can contact us in all these different ways. At the moment, we're revamping the website. When the website is done, there will also be, it'll be easier to find things there too, as soon as my web designer gets round to that. So you can meet us on social. If for reading purposes, we've got Goodreads, and we have bookclub.org as a place where you can catch all of the things that we're doing and the books that we're doing. I am going eventually to also have a shop at bookshop.org that has the books that we're reading as well, which will make it easier for people to buy local. Join the participating group on Facebook. It's a lot of fun. Watch the shows on YouTube and listen. We have a lot of podcasts these days. So in addition to this show becoming a podcast for our podcast listeners, hi, you know who you are. We also have the mystery podcast, the movie podcast, and exclusive new release podcasts that come out as well. We just had Carl Zimmer on. We're going to be having Sarah Kenzior soon. We had our first mystery podcast with Deanna Rayborn this week. You can catch all of those on pretty much every platform that there is, I think. So it's all good. I suggest the newsletter because even though various platforms suck and are terrible, newsletters almost always do get to your email, and you can find a lot of information that way. You can subscribe. It's great. We send out links and reminders and stuff. And obviously, we love it when you're members, because that's how we keep the lights on, and that's how Davey gets paid. And you can do it for as little as $5 a month. That way you get VIP shows. But again, most of our shows are free, and really what you're doing is supporting a community, and we love you for that. Now the book cocktail.
There we go.
Okay.
The winner,
A bite of knowledge. Ooh, there was quite a running there for a while. You'll notice that cup might look familiar. Back in the days when it didn't cost me $1 million to ship things, we actually had some swag that were these fabulous, peculiar teacups. And that's what she made that in. So this is so good because it's green tea and it's apple. And you said you did your flash infusion. I love that.
It's under duress, honestly, a little bit, slight exaggeration maybe. But no, I was just like, oh God, I got to make a cocktail and also get on stage. Yeah, that. Yeah.
But then there's the delight of books and cocktails, which just go together so well. I have to just always give a kudos to Cat for these. There's the other Cat. We have a Cat who makes drinks, and then we have you, Cat. So Cat made Cat's drink.
I sometimes make drinks. I mean, all right, sometimes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know. Right. Drinking game, ladies and gentlemen. Every time you feel existential dread, drink.
That's right.
Will gently pull you back.
And it's a toddy as well, which is good for cold weather, which we are sort of not having at the moment. Susan's here from Houston. Hi, Susan. And Linda Ballinger said she pre-ordered 2 books last night based on our podcast offerings. She said that the mystery podcast is quite dangerous in that sense. So
yeah,
you've been warned.
Speaking of, I threw some extra slides in here today, so anyone who didn't catch it can catch it. So for Peculiar Movie Club this month, we did the first book of the month, The Possibility of Life, and Jamie was just so tied in with pop culture. I couldn't resist doing some Star Trek: The Next Generation episodes. So we did three episodes from TNG, and we got really into it, and a lot of them have every episode is the introduction of a new alien race to the Star Trek mythos, so kind of fit the theme of Jamie's book. And Darren we'll see if my podcasting partner who does movies with me might continue being a Star Trek fan. I think I'm still a diehard Star Wars fan to the end of my days. I enjoy Star Trek from time to time. But
Is that
there's
Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra?
at
Is that?
Tanagra. That's
Yes.
right.
Okay, that's all I got.
right.
That's all I got. I had that in my pocket. And
You nailed it.
That's it.
Smack.
That's it.
She just pulled
Yeah.
it right out, you guys.
And then, like Brandy said, there's also podcast exclusives with Carl
Mhm.
Zimmer. So if you want to hear about his book Airborne, Brandy got to sit down and do a fun chat with him.
Yes.
And
about scary things in the air.
and then Deanna Rayburn is our debut of the Peculiar Mystery Club. And you're right, when she starts talking about fun fiction books, it is hard to not instantly go where you buy your local books and
Right. Exactly.
check it out.
And that's why we exist, frankly, Peculiar Book Club folks. We want you to buy all the books, but you can also get them from the library.
And I thought I would throw this in there. Our movie for March, we already decided on.
Oh.
You're probably thinking Davey's gonna do Stephen King, Pet Cemetery. Like you probably think that's where Davey's going with this. No,
no,
the orcas got me.
We're
doing
got you.
1993's Free Willy.
Free Willy.
And I'm telling you, if I'm not crying by the end of this movie, I will. There will be. Even watching the trailer, I was getting a little choked up. So.
So this is, I really thought you were going to go with because we have the pet dead pets.
Yeah.
Faithful Unto Death. Sorry, I'm like title next time, but yes, I'm looking forward. And the Orca book was recommended by Leanne Weiberg, who's also helps us out with the Facebook page and all that other good stuff. It's awesome, and I just saw people are reminding me that I forgot to mention that you also get swag for being a Peculiar Book Club member. There's stickers of Darwin and Wallace, the cats. There's T-shirts and various other things at different levels. So also that. My goodness. Okay, so a lot of questions have popped up, and I'm gonna get to those right now. My gosh, people have all kinds of questions for you. Goodness.
They usually do. Yeah, that's
they usually do. Yes.
Hi.
All right.
Welcome.
First of all, Kristen says, I can't even think of questions because there was so much in this book. I should have taken notes. Yes, that is true.
It was just 200 million years. Okay. There was a little bit to cover, just a tic tac of an idea, really. Just a small.
Though when I first did your poster, I said 400 million by mistake.
And there were other things. There were pre-mammals. There were the rest make an appearance in like one of the many footnotes. They're in there,
right? So they're there. Hey. So I almost gave you more work by mistake, but then I pulled it back to 200. Only 200 million years. So Kristen did get a question in here, though. She said, "I saw there was an event last night for a YA version of this book. Yes. Tell us about it."
About the YA version of the book?
Yes.
That it exists. It does. It came out on Tuesday. I know. They approached me about it. Actually, they being the people who make such things happen. And then my agent was like, eh? And I was like, totally. And now it exists. That's the very short version of now it totally exists. The longer version is that I have these wonderful signing lines, and there's almost always someone who's like, I have a daughter, I have a granddaughter, I have a niece, I have a somebody who is not of age, I have a somebody who has ovaries, or I have a somebody who's trans, or I have a somebody who's something, in relation to the feminine, and who has questions, and like I would like to give them this book, but I don't know that they're old enough yet. And so Eve is up to, I think, 26 languages now, which is, I don't know. I don't have to speak them, thankfully. But I thought it was going to be like, I thought the process of making a YA book, right, was going to be like the Chinese censors, right? Because we've sold in China and that's a thing, right?
Sure. Yes. I did.
But it would be like the Chinese. Yes, we've got one of those too. Like the Chinese censors, but like for sex, because that's what we're really anxious about here with kids. Violence, apparently
totally fine. Yeah.
Horrific violence, totally fine here.
Nobody worries about
not corrupting at all. No worries. Fascism, all good. But sex, though. And actually, no, they kept a lot in. Apparently, readers these days are much more sophisticated at age 14 than I certainly was. So that is cool. That is cool. A lot of it was kept in. There was one thing that they did modify, which kind of shocked me a little bit. Exactly. This is a good moment to take a little sip, y'all.
Sip,
Okay.
sip and swallow.
Mm-hmm. If you do that. So there's a moment where I talk about in the book where I talk about how surprisingly easy it is to break a human penis. And I think I used the word surprisingly easy, because like to me, I was actually surprised. I was like, I thought that'd be harder, but no, really, really. And the thing is, so they came back to me, right? And they're like, so Kat, so like a 12-year-old person with a penis is going to read that and be traumatized for life. He's not going to understand the way you worded it, that he's not going to go on and have sex with some hole and just immediately break his schlong, like just instant, like crunchy, crunchy, snap, snap. Right. So, so they wanted
all
me
bad?
to,
I don't know.
they wanted me to make the language a little gentler.
Got
So
it.
we worked
Got
on
it.
that. But yeah, but no, a lot of it was kept in, just simplified for simpler concepts. But yeah, no,
Right.
it was good. I'm excited
That's
that that's
awesome.
out there. I'm going to
That
be a
is
part of
awesome.
people's puberties, y'all.
I know. Well, first of all, I mean, I don't remember there being a lot of reading material for puberty in general. Like, I don't think there was a lot out there like that
Yeah.
had information that I could use going through puberty. There's also
Mm.
not a lot out there to give you information about going through menopause. Actually, there's just not a lot out there about women's bodies in general.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I might have said something
So
about that. Yep.
yeah, you said kind of a few things about that. I do think that this is one of those books where those of us who know a bit about having women's bodies find ourselves saying
Yeah.
things like, well, hell yeah, a lot as we're reading. I don't know if that's everyone's experience, but it's certainly my experience with that. Amanda said I got she got a galley and then she bought the hardcover as soon as it came out. So I have several versions of it now myself as well. So now they
Thank
can
you
be
for
giftable.
reading, Amanda.
So Sureka has a question. She said, what is your favorite Eve and which Eve's absence, if the environment hadn't selected for them, would have made today's society most different from what it is now? We might need to explain that a little bit for some people.
Ooh, okay. So for those of y'all who haven't read the book, I don't know that it is a requirement for you to be here, so I'll just give you a quick overview. Yeah, right. So this is the story of the evolution of the female body leading up to now and the crazy ass accidents that led to the kinds of things we often live in nowadays if you're a person with a female body on average. So it's broken down though by where we are in the taxonomic tree, right?
Mhm.
So the milk and the uterus that makes us mammals, and the live
Mhm.
birth, the
Right.
kind of gestation that makes us the kinds of placentals we are, and the sensory array that makes us primates, the big brains that make us hominins, and so on and so forth, right? Bipedalism. So I just hit on the major players that say, okay, this is the thing that is the path towards what we call
Mhm.
humanity.
This is the
Right.
Eve that we're going back to for this particular
Right,
thing.
exactly. And so it's called Eve because I give you a last common ancestor, an Eve, because we don't have one mother of us all. We actually have billions, but there are a few key players,
Right.
right? So what Sureka is asking is which of these last common ancestors, which of these Eves was my favorite? And if one were missing, if somehow the very normal accident of extinction had just hit one out,
Right.
how then would society today be radically different?
Mhm.
Okay. I'll go with the second one first. There
Ooh.
is no Eve here that you could knock out, which is to say there's no trait here that you could somehow knock out of a developmental path, assuming then it would never arrive, right?
Right.
Not selected in another species. I mean, in other words, the Eve of a trait, right?
Right.
That it would never arrive, any of these you take out and you got no humanity.
Got
Any
it.
of
Yeah.
these.
Right.
It's simply not the case that you can say there's anything like a Homo sapien if you're not bipedal. Okay.
Right.
And by bipedal, I mean as a species, I don't mean as an individual. People have all
Right.
kinds of
Yes.
mobility in this world, but our diversity is wonderful. But the thing is that we are very much a bipedal species, and that's a huge part of our evolutionary
Right.
path.
It's the whole everything from our skeleton to our brains to everything is
Yes.
wrapped up in that.
I will say that not laying eggs anymore continues to be an extremely bad idea. and that
Yeah,
we really
I'd love to
should,
go
if we
back,
could,
right.
just go straight back to sitting
Oh,
on a
man,
clutch.
I
Like,
would do it.
it would be clutch to sit on a clutch. Like, I do not want to keep having to do it this way. I'm not going
No.
to. This is shut
Well,
down.
I'm
This
not.
factory's
Yeah,
done. No more, baby.
right. Mine too.
But absolutely, if I could swap out that and still, I don't know, exist, right? In that I'm a
So
humanist,
if
and
I
so
had
I'm
managed to
into
get round
humans
to doing the
existing.
comedy sketch, I was going to do like the egg laying thing was going to be
Oh yeah.
because I literally love the idea because I have chickens and I was
Ooh.
going to try and do a comedy sketch about because really like I just buy myself an incubator and you could just kind of there's so many we do have eggs, we actually do have eggs, we just don't
So
lay them.
many options. Yes.
So many options.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Laying them and walking away. No, I don't want to do that to my children. But I'm an
You
invested
can't
species.
make an omelet
But
without breaking
no,
some eggs.
absolutely. My favorite Eve. Ooh, I think I really, really love Morgie. Actually, I love Morgie, Morgana Cadon. Now, she is an exemplar genus. She's not even a single species, but she is the ancestor of milk, of lactation.
Yes.
This is the idea. She's our exemplar of that. And oh God, I was so taken by the idea of her running around trying to catch bugs all night and then slinking back into her hole on her belly and nursing her pups who are just sucking it, off of her belly because she doesn't even have teats yet. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
So crazy. And because it was almost I was trying to explain this to Mark who is also known as Lady Paws. I was trying to explain this to Lady Paws and he's like, so it was like nutritional sweat? And I was like,
Not
sort of.
not yet nutritional, probably for a long time, actually. More like some cross between like sebum and pus. Actually, real gross. We're going to admit, real gross for a real long time, but immunologically beneficial. Also hydrating. That was nice for a bit. Yeah.
Sadie recommends maybe a marsupial pouch would also be kind of nice. Potentially.
I love that Sadie is saying that there are options still. Yet still options. All of them are enticing.
Is this our friend Morgie?
That's Morgana Dawn, except I don't know what that birdie demon beast is over there. But yes, meet Morgie. Yes, absolutely. Look at her. Look at that bitch. She's great.
Yeah. Susan asked if I'm bragging about my eggs. I do feel very wealthy at the moment having chickens here. I do have to say, like,
interesting, aren't they? I mean, expense wise, it does seem to be true since we're very concerned with the price of eggs.
Yeah,
it's a joke because people are suffering, but.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Mark just brought in some beautiful eggs for us to look at.
That is beautiful. Look at that. Look at how all of that is not pre-eclampsia. Look at that.
Yeah, it's great.
All
right?
of that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have and we have multiple colors of eggs as well. And we actually give our neighbors bring us empty egg cartons as kind of like, look, I have this empty egg carton.
What might you do with that?
Maybe you need it.
Put your eggs in it for reasons and give it back to us. I want your eggs, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's pretty much how what they're saying right there.
It's kind of sweet though. I mean, the only time anyone's wanted my eggs is because they wanted to do IVF. So, that's like a bit better.
The egg helix. Cities, it was like Mark brings the Lady Paws brings the egg helix because it's a It is rather. Oh, hey, Mr. Wallace just woke up. I was going to say he's been in here with us, but sort of unaware. Now he's realized Mark's home and he's like, someone will feed me. So he's going that way. I can't wait if you guys could. There he is. He's looking out the door. Mark, he would like you to come rescue him now. So the next question I have is, whoops, where'd it go? Oh, no, I moved down too far. Oh, there it is. The ending of the book, talking about patriarchy and sexism and the rise of men thinking they need to dominate, was a bit stressful based on current events. Can we swing back to matriarchy? Is that a thing that can happen?
Ooh,
it
has been a season, hasn't it, ladies?
I actually said something to my wife. I was like, she's like, "Are you gonna do the show because you got the flu?" And I was like, "I have to. I have to defend my territory. I'm only a 185-ish pound man, and I have to protect my joke babies that I make with Brandy."
Comedians are territorial. That is the
They
thing.
are.
Mhm.
They are. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
We have what we have here is a I want to say this is an ideal male because this is Wallace. Wallace is he's missing some of his masculine bits, but he's also, when he was feral, he was the one who took care of little kittens. Like, he's a male, but the males that are not big bruisers in a feral colony tend to look after the kittens to try and get in good with the ladies.
Like the baboons in my book.
yes,
Look at that. Just getting in with the
Wallace.
ladies.
Wallace likes kittens. To this day, if you play kitten sounds, he will come running because he's like, "Oh, I got to take care of the kittens, and be good with the ladies." Yeah. So
Yeah, absolutely.
you just wanna
We're not going to skip over your question, dear reader. We are acknowledging that it has been a hell of a time. And we
Yes.
are coping. We are coping. We are entering our fuck it era, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. We need community. That's what we need here. I would say that, like, inevitably I had to write that last chapter for a book like this. I also wanted to. There are parts of it that I wrote because I kept getting those questions. There are parts of
Right.
it that I wrote because it's like, fuck you, I am definitely writing this. There are parts of it that are just, I mean, when you work on something for a while, it's just like crawling inside your head. So there's a lot in that chapter that's just in my head. But I will say that the conclusion has been lightly modified since I originally wrote it during the Obama era. Yeah. And then the world changed and it hit a little different. So I had to sit with my feelings. I did. I had to sit with my feelings as an author, and a person with ovaries just had to be like, I agree with you, Sharon. Yes,
Sharon just, if for those of you on the podcast, Sharon just wrote, "It's fuck this shit o'clock."
Yes.
Well, I did notice.
True.
So the book came out during the Biden administration, right? So you weren't even predicting what was going to happen in the next year to come, or were you? Or were you kind of predicting it?
She's probably a little prescient, I think.
Oh, come on now. That is not a thing. Everybody backsalls and it's like, I totally knew, or I didn't know. I was so shocked. I mean, please. I mean, the point is we're in it. Whatever we thought we were going to be in, now we're in this thing. Right. And I think there's something really, really important about remembering that hope is not a cop-out. Nor is it foolish that being hopeful is itself an act of resistance.
Yes.
A dear friend of mine, Pyle Aurora, who wrote the book The Next Billion Users, she also had a quote recently from her latest book, and it said, "Pessimism is a privilege for those who can afford to sit in despair."
Oh, nice. Oh. Ooh. That hits.
Right?
Oh.
Because she does a lot of research with women in the global South. And she's like, you know what I see there? I see a lot of like bloodied optimism. I see a lot of joy. I see a lot of fury in a good life. I see a lot there. And I come back here where everybody's rich and I see a lot of like, oh, woe is us. And it's like, whose story are we telling and who's it for?
Yeah, well, I like that too, because I think hope, living a life of joy is an act of resistance too. And I think was that our last show, Davey, where someone came on and was like, it was Jamie's book. So it was like, how can you be talking about like whether or not there's life on other planets when everything's on fire? And I was like, because like joy is worth having, like books and reading, and this is why we do shit, frankly. So that's beautiful. And I also Amanda Johnson said, in my recommendation for this book, your book, Eve, I told Brandy Cat is one of us, and I was so right. So we're so glad that you're here.
I feel so welcomed. Thanks, y'all. Thanks, y'all. I like communities. I like joining.
Yeah,
talking about the end of the book. Talking about the end of the book, it was fun to tell my wife. She's like, "What are you listening to right now?" I was like, "Oh, Cat's trying to scientifically prove whether we're super rapey as a species."
It seemed important to do. Somebody had to do it.
I like the way you broke it down, though. You kind of got to the, you used science to prove it.
Yeah,
Science. It's just science.
it's just
You know, it's just one of those things where like sexual coercion is present in so many species. We know this. We know this. We know
Mhm.
this. We know this. But behaviorists will look at these comparative ethologies and will say, okay, well, what does that do to a body? If a species has this as a norm, what does it usually look like? What's
right.
usually up? You usually get
Ducks.
really complicated trapdoor vag to
Yep.
like
Ducks,
extra
man.
ward off unwanted sperm. You usually get like weirdly complicated phalluses with like all kinds of wing bat curly Q shit going on. You usually get all kinds of things that say this is probably a species where there's a lot of conflict between male and female choice. Okay, we don't have that shit. Our penises are so boring. They're fun. They're fun. I have
Fun?
relationships with a few. They're fun, but no. Yeah.
No bells and whistles.
No bells and
we were telling Kat about the sketches we do before the show started, and one of the sketches we did was a duck sex education class for male ducks to stop being so
ducks.
rapey.
And then
Yes.
we also did one where it was this was for Vagina Obscura, I think, where God and the duck,
Rachel,
the two angels trying to build the duck, and they're like, "What is this
Yeah,
for?"
yeah.
Like, if
Mhm.
if God made the duck.
You know, the thing that gets me about the duck rape is not necessarily just the duck rape. And sorry, trigger warning for those of you who've experienced
Yes.
sexual violence. But we joke about it to cope. So that's a thing. So, okay, the thing that gets me actually is not even that it exists because, oh, come on. Penguins are necrophiliacs. Like, we don't want to get into the horrors of the natural world. It exists. Fine. You know, animals are terrible to each other, including in sexual scenarios. Fine. What gets me is if you go on YouTube, don't do this, or at least only do it in a private browser with a VPN. If you go on YouTube and you look up mallard duck rape, there are so many videos that some dude in his like neighborhood artificial pond is just filming just like gang rape ducks, just filming it. And I just can't help but look at it like, why aren't you helping her? Okay. You are not a citizen scientist right now. Okay. I can hear you laughing. You are not filing this as data. You're just a dick.
No.
Yeah.
I'm proud to say that I've never walked past our artificial pond and watched duck rape happen. Although Kenobi usually barks as we come around the corner, so the ducks all scatter anyways. So
Kenobi is doing his service. That's
yeah,
what
he's an
doing.
ally. Kenobi's an ally.
He is helping.
I mean, he would murder those ducks if he got his chance to, but
it's true.
He's also a hunter, but
right.
Well, and drink.
There we go. Well, we came to an interesting conclusion on that one. We're gonna come back and we're gonna talk a little bit more about these bodies, right? Because I want us to get a little bit more of a. I love the depth to which you go in the bodies. I like the deepness in which you dig into bodies. I'm going to stop digging myself right now. But first, it is actually time for us to have a musical interlude, and I am so excited about this. I know I already said I was excited, but I'm really excited about it because you guys are going to love the lyrics. And I got Susan to send me the lyrics, so I will probably put these in a newsletter so you guys have access to them because wow. So, music, queued up.
Hi, fellow peculiars. This is Susan Huang, and I do have a new song for this great book. I wanted to share some thoughts I had while writing. It was a little bit daunting, wondering how words like female gluteofemoral fat and long-chain polyunsaturated fatty acids would turn into a song. But the more I sang them, I realized, wow, long-chain polyunsaturated fatty acids, LCPUFAs, that is a song right there. And of course, what those words mean and the information that she had to share about that fat, was mind-blowing. Largely also because of my own, relationship with that fat, which is somewhat tortured. I was always against that fat on my body. I grew up being very much against that and trying to get rid of it. I was always a little bit larger than the girls around me. Like my sister's naturally really thin, and my cousins, and so I'm like, why is my dongpae so big? And the dongpae is this area on your lower belly. I was complaining about my dongpae one day, and my mother was like, no, you cannot complain about that. That is very important. That is where your power is, and you're immune. And she insisted that she wouldn't have been able to survive all of her childhood illnesses during the Korean War when medical resources and food was scarce. And And then, so when I read that part in Kat's book, I was like, oh my God, my mother was right. Don't you hate that? But she was right. And the first recording that I did with my band, oh, here it is. The first recording that I did with my band in 2015, the band is Susie Huang and the Elastics. I named it after that fat. The Korean word for that lower belly fat is called dongpae, and this is my dongpae at the time, 2015 dongpae, and on the back there's me with my bandmates who have very little dongpae, hardly, including Adam, but of course his is not gluteal femoral fat because he's a guy, but I just thought that was interesting, and here I am reading all this mind-blowing information of how that fat is connected to the immune system and the liver. It's just so. Thanks, Kat, for that, and also thanks for all the information that you provided on something that's always been important to me. My own body. Also, thank you, Kat, for the many juicy words and concepts that you gave me to chew on, such as the vagina as potential space. Potential space. That's poetry, right? Also, upsuck. Upsuck is not only when the breast takes in the baby's saliva during breastfeeding, it is the name of my new punk band. So thanks for that.
Female gluteal femoral fat resists being metabolized. That's because we need that fat for the species to survive. Long chain polyunsaturated fatty acids, LCPUFAs. Why are we taught to hate what it takes to make our retinas and our brains? You don't suppose we need adipose, or we say adios more rapidos to life on Earth? Is it morose to dispose of adipose no matter what it does to those whose bodies give birth? Let's talk about fat and breast and blood and all of that. Vaginas and wombs, we need to make room for the truer story. For all the Eves that never eaten, for all the mothers that keep feeding, so we have retinas that keep breeding. We need a truer story. I like big butts and I cannot lie, because without them the species will die. They've been keeping us alive. It's the truer story. We start storing this fat from childhood, like this fat is a seed. It's a blueprint, a poem, a map. It's a history. It's a song that will get louder, that starts when you're a child. That was there from the beginning, that was there all the while. It's a song that sang the future into being, that we keep singing. To be here now and to go on and on. To be here now and to go on and on. Why do we menstruate? Why do women live longer? Why are we more likely to get Alzheimer's? Is there really such a thing as the female brain? What's the cause? Why? Seriously, why do we sweat through our sheets when we hit menopause? For all the Eves and ever Eden, a truer story is what we're needing. For all the Eves and ever Eden, a truer story is what we're needing.
All right,
And that's for
Susan.
you, Kat. That is for you, Susan Wang.
I'm so flattered. Thank you,
Her
Susan.
song for
Thank you,
you, yes.
Susan. Also,
You-
that her new punk band is called Upsuck. I am going to tell people that. Yes. Yes.
Me and Susan were on the same wavelength, because I wrote down my new punk band is going to be called Seminole Fallout.
Yes. 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 Like little jewels on the forest floor. Yes.
Yeah. So people saying she's perfect for this book. Oh my God, Brandy, please do share the lyrics. I will. Because I had to read it's fun to listen to and read at the same time. But yes, Susan's very talented. Anyway, but she does things with words and she loves books. She is, it says so on the beginning credits, but Susan is the head of the Bushwick Book Club, who does Bushwick Book Club, does book launches in New York City, in Brooklyn, actually, and I will be there myself for my next book launch. So she's very lovely.
Fun.
Yeah.
Fun. I used to live in Fort Greene.
Did you? Okay.
Oh,
yeah. So Charming
Yeah.
Disaster, who does our other music, they are also in Brooklyn. So Brooklyn is like a yay for us here in this little enclave.
Well, I'll be on tour for the next month, and I'll be in New York next weekend.
Oh, will you? Next weekend? Do you have your tour? Is it?
Yes, you can find my tour on my website, which is catbohannon.com. You can also find me on Instagram, cat.bohannon. Very important. And so important. I am on Twitter. I try not to be. I'm on Blue Sky.
Yes, you are.
Yes.
I didn't realize it at first. So I forgot to tag you on one of them, and then I tagged you on the other one. So yeah.
All good.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. I'm in all those spaces, and yes, I am very much on tour solidly for the next month and a half.
That is fabulous. I'm loving it.
Yes.
And this book is just, I mean, did you say 26 languages? It's going in 26 languages. I mean, there's so much. It's just amazing. And Susan Huang, there you are. There's so much inspiration in the book on all levels. Susan, your song was lovely.
Thank you,
we loved it. Here is that. It's in the chat, you guys, the Cat's website. So you can pop up there and see where she's going to be. So you can possibly see her in person.
See me. I love a stage and I love Q&As. Come and find me. Bring all your questions. I am not shy.
Actually, shoot, I think Leanne's got our banner. I wonder if you're going to be. Leanne's in DC, or in Reston, actually. But we do have a banner that we try to take to live events for our authors and have you guys sign it. So we have a lot of people's signatures on it already. So if we can get it, if we can get one of the people who have the banner to you,
I will be in DC.
Yes, that would be so. Oh, you will? Okay. I got to bookmark this. Somebody remind me that I need to tell Leanne. She couldn't be with us tonight. Oh, smash that follow button on Instagram. Yeah. Susan says she's excited about the book launch. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun in May when that comes out too. Mine is not necessarily about the body.
Something that means you're having sex with it, and I don't think we're following the follow button.
Maybe we're really excited. I don't know. I smash a lot of things.
I accept you. I
don't rail things. I think if you rail the button, that's more of a
rail is very penetrative. That's very
it is
specific.
Yeah. Which is interesting.
Is more inclusive.
You have a good point. I like that.
So the book
smash maybe needs to be our new word, you guys. Last year everything was the absolute unit. We usually end up with some phrase that we then try to work into all the other shows. So yes, so the books are coming. Your books are available. Obviously, people can buy them. You can get them in all kinds of places. The audiobook, which you in fact do, is great. The cover is you have two different covers. I don't understand why that is.
Well, with all the other languages now, we've got lots of.
Oh, right, yeah.
So my God!
So I ended up putting a couple of them. They did, I know, but I really like the Eve one because the one that is the V and it's like you see the things in the background. I really like that one. Yes, I love that. I really like that.
Yeah, they did amazing work.
It's beautiful. There it is. Yeah, I like that, and also it kind of reminds me. Does it remind anyone else of Riley's work? Riley Black.
We love Riley.
Yes. Riley's going to be on our show soon for Green Planet. Oh no, I'm forgetting the name. Is it Green Planet? You guys, she's going to be on my show. I'm getting the title mixed up. We'll figure it out. But anyway, she's going to be coming on too. And then she's also working on a book that's like a narrative history of the T-Rex. So it's like through the eyes of a T-Rex kind of thing. I can't wait to talk. I cannot wait until.
Interesting.
So many good things.
Yes. Such ineffective little arms, but such a fascinating species.
When the Earth was green.
When the Earth was green. I'm like, Green Planet isn't right. When the Earth was green. Is
that a VIP show with Bethany Brookshire?
Yes, Bethany Brookshire is hosting that one. That's one of our. We have now you've been a guest, so you get to be invited back too. If you want to host a show, you can come on and host an author you want to interview on our show, which is a lot of fun. So we have authors
pivot.
Authors hosting authors is a lot of is good stuff. So
cool.
Anyway, back to bodies. We've got time because Davey's got a quiz too, and I don't want to step on his quiz territory. It's very important, the quiz. But so one of the things that really amazes me, and it amazed Susan as well, is the way like how important it is, the differences between bodies, the extra fat, I never thought of them as being particularly important differences. And I think that's by virtue of our cultural context. You know, you don't think, you know what I mean? It's like growing up as a kid, I'm a somewhat androgynously built human as well. There's that. And at the moment I'm really androgynous. But as a result, like I didn't really think about those differences as having an actual effect that went backwards in time and that affected everything from like our development. And that was just kind of like, I'm a medical researcher, and that was mind-blowing. So how did you come to this? Like, did you just know this?
Yes, I have all knowledge forever. No, I had to climb Physiology Mountain. Are you kidding? Of course. No, I was doing my PhD at the same time on not only a semi-related topic. Thank you. Barely prepared me for the brain and the voice chapters. I was doing cognition. Come on now. So sex, safe to say, it should be safe, but I'm saying it is way more complicated than a binary, but we shouldn't be surprised by that because bodies are in every species incredibly diverse. In social species, they can be especially diverse. So like when we talk about this, like, you know, sex of male and sex of female, we're talking about these averages under big curves with a big spread. You know what I mean? And actually, one of the things that's really interesting when you think about things from an evolutionary perspective is that it's also true that features of your body are evolving in very different contexts and at very different times, right? So this thing that you think of as distinctive of your species, this big self-impressed brain, this big fat football of material in your head, that only acquires its recent features probably in the last, few million years in that pulsy way. But bipedalism, oh my God, we're going back a few million years now. And okay, wait a minute. What about lactation? Well, that comes way before we stop laying eggs, because you've got that duck-billed platypus and other monotremes that are still very much laying eggs, but they make milk. So which is to say, like, depending where you're looking at your body, what question you're asking about a body, sex matters more or less, and it matters in different ways than in other spaces, right? Yeah. And we're only just starting to figure that shit out because we're only just finally starting to study it in the last few decades, which frankly is not a lot of time, given that half of our species has been pretty female for like all that 300,000 years. Yeah. Just saying that maybe it'd be cool to just have us in the subject pool. Just putting that out there as like a, in fact, right now, phase 1 clinical trials still only have 22% female participants. That is a thing that is not cool, not even remotely cool for our medical understanding of the body. So,
and then even in areas where it is specific to women's bodies, for instance, mammograms. I had past tense dense breast tissue, so I had mammograms that told me I was fine. And then I was like, I don't think I'm fine. I think something might be wrong here. So self-examination I was like, hey, I think maybe something's up. And they were like, well, we can wait till your next mammogram, which was 7 months later. And I said, no, I think we should look at this now. It turned out to be a rather aggressive tumor. And now I had a double mastectomy. Because literally the mammograms showed this didn't show anything. Even when I went back and they knew the tumor was there, the mammograms didn't show anything. And I said, well, how many people does this affect? And they said, about half of women. So 50% of women get mammograms that tell them fuck all, but we don't change that at all. Like, that's just like, it's good enough, right? Like, that's just, even in a space where the woman's body is the one you're looking at, they're like 50%, pretty good odds. Like, just don't,
Well, that is a combination of poorly studying sex differences. And it's also just straight sexism because female specific conditions are underfunded. When you're underfunded, that means you're going to be understudied because this shit takes money. Okay. Yes. So yes, please do. Everyone who's got it, access to a fire hose of money directed at the labs doing the important stuff. That's how we're going to get somewhere. But there are labs doing important stuff. It's not the case that we are all radically abandoned. It's just that their climb is too uphill. That's how that is. Yeah, absolutely. So I think the fact that our bodies are important, that seems like a pretty easy, there's a softball, right? Yes, our bodies are important. Okay, good. We can all agree on that. The fact that the features of our bodies shape our lives. Yes, absolutely. Okay, cool. The fact that our bodies are different. Yeah, okay. Those differences might matter. Shouldn't be a radical proposition.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you have a lack of understanding because of lack of research, well, you need to fill that knowledge gap.
Right. To me, that's the thing that blew my mind, though. It says, I thought, I am so biased against this myself. Like, I grew up in a culture that told me these differences were either that they didn't matter or that they were bad. I mean, I really identify with what Susan was saying about, about fat, particularly. I think we're taught to be so fat phobic.
Oh my goodness. Yes. I'm going to be on stage with Kate Mann next week at Cornell.
Awesome.
Yes. She wrote Unshrinking, which is all about, yes. Oh my God. Read it if you don't. She's so good. She's a philosopher. And it's all about the intersection of fat phobia and feminism and sexism. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. She's good stuff. She's good.
Well, and Amanda just brought up endometriosis, and we could go off on a whole tangent about that. But it is true. This is Kate Mann. If you guys are watching the program or watching the actual YouTube, she's spelling out Kate Mann's name there. So it's Manne. Just if you're looking.
Yes. Yeah. Bit of a misleading last name for a feminist philosopher.
I love it, frankly.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's great.
But also people can probably pronounce it, whereas that is not the case for mine.
Well, so fair.
Yeah.
So yes. So do we want to, since the song was about it, do we want to talk about the fat thing? Do we want to do that for people who haven't read the book?
I do, but also we are running close to time. So I want to make sure we get to a couple more questions. I do because it's so important, but I also don't want to blockade that off. And we still have the quiz to do. So I did also want to mention that we can come back and ask a final question. So maybe we'll come back and do a quick piece. It's hard to do a quick thing about fat though, but maybe we'll try to come back to that. Sureka asked, did your training in cognition and narration shape how you made decisions about the book's structure and pacing? Which I think is an amazing question because we love to hear about how authors write.
Inevitably, it must have, but I don't think there was ever like a conscious moment where I was like, and this definitely lines up with what I have learned about why narrative is a good mnemonic. And I'm definitely going to increase the density of my sensory detail in this moment to emphasize the emotional impact of this scene.
See, now I believe that you did it.
I think there is, in the end, as when you're writing, you're being an artist, right? No matter what you're doing. And so I think in my artistic process, there was probably a turning down of the volume of that part of my brain that was thinking, now shall I consciously plan or shall I flow? Right. I was more in flow. I do think it was true that when I was writing the brain chapter, I was absolutely thinking about, when I was writing the voice chapter, I wrote about the evolution of language. And there's a really interesting thing in language where it's like, well, when did we actually get the things that are distinctive of us? If language is just a communication pattern, many species have communication, many species are highly communicative. So when does it become ours? When do we find the Eve of human language? Who is that bitch? Who is she? And who do we talk to about all the gossip? So, and I realized that what mattered actually was symbolic story, was probably story, right? Because you can communicate a hell of a lot about anything with language, but can't really get to humanity until you're actually telling story. Okay. That's distinctive of us.
Right. So that narrative quality, I mean, if you think about it that way, then everything that you were doing was shaped by
inevitable
cognition. Yeah. Okay. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
All right. Because I want you to have plenty of time with Davy's quiz, but B, I also want to get Davy up here before he passes out on the sofa. We're going to pop into Davy's quiz. And if you've not done this before, the cool thing is you've got like a team of helpers in the Peculiars. So you can phone a friend essentially. So Davey, take it away.
I actually think I might have gone too far into Cat's wheelhouse with this quiz. We'll see.
Oh,
You might actually have to hold back and let the peculiars answer before you just jump all over it. We'll see.
I have no idea what this quiz thing is, so I'm ready. Whatever you
okay,
got.
you're
There
ready.
was
All right,
so
here we
much.
go.
There was so much in the book. I thought about doing quizzes and sketches and things like that. And I started doing a little bit of research about lactation and about breastfeeding, and I actually came across a really interesting article on Slate, where you talk so much about the way we do it, but what about the rest of the animal kingdom? So the quiz this week is called "Honey, Don't Forget the Nipple Butter." So it's
Davey has twin girls and a little boy, by the way, so he's all about it.
Well, so they were bottle fed, so I got to
okay.
participate. I got to be super involved. I'm one of those advanced males that actually joined in on the child care. Three questions about animals and breastfeeding. Human milk is estimated to have only 3.8% fat, but this animal holds the record with milk that can reach 61% fat. Is it A, the blue whales, B, the hooded seals, or C, the narwhals?
Ooh.
Sorry, am I supposed to answer that?
Yeah.
But
The
you can
peculiars will help
it.
out. The peculiars will help out.
Peculiars can help you out here.
Oh,
So they haven't phoned in yet. What you thinking, guys? Ooh, this is interesting because I would have guessed it to be something of the sea. That I would have guessed, but I wouldn't have necessarily known. Sharon Roney says B. She's going with a hooded seal. Kristen says B. Okay.
Okay. I mean, my first instinct would be what's going to drive up the fat content. Well, it's either going to be probably the occasions for feeding are lower, so you have to make them denser per occasion. That's my first instinct.
Yeah.
And the other one would probably be the cold. So frankly, all of these things are encountering cold. All of these things are probably struggling to lactate into a mouth. Whales, I think they have to do it underwater. Narwhals, I think they can come up. So I'm gonna, people are saying B, but I honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I think fine. I'll support your listeners. They're going to say B.
You're going to say B? Okay. All right. Davey?
Good choice to always trust the peculiars. The answer is yes to be the hooded seals.
Okay.
And you were on the right track. They got 4 days. Those pups got 4 days to get as much fat and calories in them as possible, and then the mom goes off looking for food.
Well, that is exactly what that is then. Yeah, hot shot of mom.
Hey.
There's a lot of fun facts in this Slate article. Let's see here. It's something about I had the calories.
For those of you who can't see the picture. Oh, go ahead.
The blue whale calf packs on 37,000 pounds during its suckling period. The seals drink nearly 45,000 calories of liquid butter each day.
Wow.
Is the only way this arrangement could work.
45,000 calories.
Okay. Yeah. So for those of you who have breastfed in your life, I don't know about you, but I'm just no, not today, Satan. Like that. No, that is just a hot no. I am not supplying that much to my child.
It keeps getting fun. The animal kingdom is full of fun.
Okay, more fun.
Following a gestation period of just 12 days, these babies, with their brains only 9% developed, slide their way into their mother's pouch and latch on to her teat for 2 straight months, with the mother's nipple stretching and growing up to 35 times its original length. Are we talking about the A, opossums, B, wombats, or C, kangaroos? And for our podcast listeners, I have a photo of Elastigirl. Elastigirl from Incredibles in here to represent the stretchiness of mothers. Yeah.
35 times its original length. Wow.
Well, so I did learn some stuff about marsupials doing research for the book, which was super fun. And it does seem that like a lot of these species, but I don't think this was true of opossums. Yeah, I think you climb your way out. First, you practice climbing in the womb. We have ultrasound of that.
Practice
Of weird
climbing
little,
in the womb.
yes. These
Yeah.
little
Wow.
jelly bean babies, their forearms are all bulked up like bros, and then they've just got nothing behind that. They're just like all arm. They crawl up her freaking belly and then basically fuse to the nipple, right? So if it's 35 times the length, y'all, it's going to have to be something like this is a body that's getting a lot bigger.
A lot
right?
bigger.
So I'm
right.
also wanting to strike out number one. This is all.
Yeah, because
I don't know
they're
the
small.
answer.
They
I am
don't get real
BSing
big.
with
Yeah.
you, but I am BSing in a truthy way.
Right.
So it's going to
right.
be B or C. It's got to be B or C.
Okay. Sharon says C. Kristen says C. Amanda says B because she hopes it's B because wombats are fun.
They're so cute.
They are. I don't know. I might go with C too. Because 35 times. I'm like literally sitting here. If you guys are listening, I'm trying to like judge the distance 35 times my nipple length here. Be like,
ooh, but
having
mathy
little-
moment. Wait. No, you're totally right. One, also ow. But two, like the idea of it 35 times, right? Remember, if something starts out real small, it's not that much bigger at 35
Shoot.
times.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, smart.
So math could be tricky.
I mean, it basically
Randy says
functions.
C.
It basically functions as an umbilical cord, right? At
Bonnie's
2
like,
months,
is
yeah.
the kangaroo's the one with 2 vaginas as well? I think so, Bonnie. I think so because it seems like they could be
most
pregnant while they're.
marsupials.
Oh, most of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most
Wow, I have
marsupials
enough trouble. I had
uh,
enough trouble with one. Can't imagine having 2.
Yeah, they've got the multivag complex, which I love.
Wow.
I love. There's a section of my
Multivag
book that's
complex.
called "We Should Have Had More Vaginas." Yeah, we should have. We should have. I
How
feel a
much is
personal
that
loss. I
vagina?
could have
You know.
used that for something like a coin purse.
All right. Well,
I don't know.
I like that idea.
well, the answer is. I fooled everyone on this one. It is the
Opossums!
opossums.
Oh my
Genuinely
god!
shocked.
Oh, my
Genuinely
photo.
shocked.
Uh-oh.
Did
Oh,
not
my
know.
photo didn't load. I had an opossum photo. Oh well.
Mm,
Oh no.
Mm.
No,
Oh,
no
well.
opossums.
Technical
No,
difficulties.
well,
Everybody can
photo.
go look up opossum nipples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
do
Question
that,
number
Ben.
3. Some animals have nipples up near their armpits. Some have
Mhm.
them lower near their hindquarters. But this
Mhm.
animal has 2 sets of nipples, one set higher up and one set near its pelvis. Is it A, elephants, B, squirrels, or C, bats? And the photo for this one I went with was the Got Milk ad campaign.
Mm.
Okay.
Makes an appearance actually in my book.
I know elephants have boobs like humans, and I don't think they have them further back. So I feel like that's not the one, but I don't know between squirrels and bats. Those are kind of like the same animal, but one has bling and one has wing.
There's a part of me that wants to say bats just because now I'm picturing them nursing upside down, hanging from a thing.
Mm.
But that's the
Oh,
only
that's
reason I'm
true.
saying it.
Kristen says B. Sharon Roney says B. Squirrels. Bats are
Also-
weirdest.
I will say-
See?
While you guys are thinking about this, the kangaroos were the ones that can feed 2 different developing joeys
Yes.
at different times. So like one could be
that's right.
further along, and they could have different formulas basically coming out of their teats.
Randy says my answer
Mhm.
will always be bats.
Just as a person.
I go with that.
Just for all
Bats are good.
things.
Just for all things.
Mhm.
So like, what would you?
Yeah.
What do you feel like
This-
for dinner?
Bats.
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 A lot of this came
How are we
from
going to
too,
solve
the-
Trump, bats?
you had the animal that had the record for the most nipples. I didn't put that in the quiz because you already had that in the book. And I was like, I told my wife I could do a sketch where there's just like 28 nipples on my body.
Just nipples everywhere.
So many. So many nipples on that thing.
All right.
Mhm.
All
Are we ready for the answer?
right, we're ready.
Yes.
The answer is yes.
It is
Bats.
ba-
Oh
You
wait,
have a picture
Ah!
of Batman.
not those bat nipples. I meant to do these bat nipples.
So it
that's
is
interesting.
about where they can nurse. Oh.
No, so
Oh.
they
Is that one literal? Is that a fox bat thing flying while
Yeah.
nursing?
Is that
Yeah.
image not amazing?
That is amazing.
Oh, I love bats. I mean, you see the bats, and you understand why Batman, like the imagery is so amazing because the imagery of bats is so amazing. But
Look
no,
at her
the
Expression in
nipples.
that photo, though, she is so stressed. Look at her face. She's like,
They
Jesus.
could be up to a third of their the babies could be up to a third of their body weight that they're carrying to fly. So yeah, they are stressed.
Look at her. She's like, and I'm. Oh God, yeah. Like,
So they think that the upper nipples are where the mammary glands are for lactation, and that the lower nipples are basically just kind of anchor points for the babies to hang on to while they fly.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
disturbed than I was before. Okay,
So,
cool.
nipples as handles. That seems.
I'm just like, are they clamping on to anchor, or
I
is
don't-
some
I
other?
don't-
part- You know,
Is it like
I
for
just
their
The
feet, or they
opossums,
just-
the opossums definitely are. They found in research, they're like, you cannot separate an opossum from its nipple. Like it is on there. That thing is not coming apart. So,
Wow.
yeah. So yeah,
Hmm.
bat nipples. Next
Wow.
time you see a bat flying
I feel
overhead,
like I
take
just
a-
felt a sympathy twinge in my right
yeah.
girl just there. I just,
Wow. They don't
ow.
even have to pierce them to be cool.
No.
That's right. You're right. That's crazy.
So there you go. I thought so
Wow.
many quizzes. I wanted to quiz you on like crazy ice cream flavors after you mentioned chocolate pickle ice cream or something, or you made a joke about that. I was like, there are weird ice cream flavors out there. So
Yeah,
I thought of
usually
that.
the quizzes do go a little bit off off from
Tangents.
things.
Yeah,
Yes, a bit
a little bit,
tangenty.
yeah.
But
I know the thing
yeah,
about the body is
dang.
it's just got a lot of material. You
It
know?
does. It does.
Mhm.
It
Even
really does.
yes.
It is a deep
Amazing.
well.
I like the way you talked about these evolutionary changes, almost like someone was in an office going, like, "Hey, there's a problem with their lower ribs. All right, well, let's just make the lower ribs wider. Okay, problem solved." And like, someone just keeps coming to this poor person with these problems, and they're like, "Well, then let's
No.
change this. Let's move their tongues further down in their necks, and then they won't."
Okay.
choke on them."
Totally. Basically, I know all of these weird mutations that produce this thing that eventually is like us, which is still going on, still
Right.
totally mutating all the time in our species. Evolution
Yeah.
doesn't stop. You know, is like it's actually problems. It's actually some fucking thing now that's either
Yeah.
going to kill you or not, or some goddamn issue on a Tuesday that's either going
Yeah.
to help you very slightly to get laid or not, or completely unrelated, or survive an infection or something, or maybe both with the infection and the getting laid at the same time.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh.
hence evolution, right? Yeah,
Right. But that is
exactly.
yes,
So-
it is. I would, I know that the mammary is all very like, good, but with the rise of breast cancer, part of me has been like, are we gonna at some point just go, no, we're gonna lay eggs and we're gonna feed them through belly sweat, and we're done. That's we're going backwards.
I would certainly love more optionality. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we're only able to innovate at this point behaviorally. Now, there are transhumanists that are really interested in the idea of a post-human body, of a modified body. There are versions of such people all over.
I just
You
want
know,
to be
there
able
are
to get
very
at the
dedicated
switches, you know?
communities to that. But I would love to have like a Velcro option to just kind of put the girls up and then like go to bed. You
Well,
know,
I do
just
now,
like,
kind of. I have
oh
a little
yeah.
pocket. I got a pocket boob bra thing that you can put. I don't mind not having them, but like some clothes, just don't. They need them there, like, or they just fall down. So yeah, I've got like a pocket boob bra, and you could change the sizes technically. Be like, I feel like a C today, So there are, it's possible. It's possible to have some options, but yeah, it's all kind of after the fact.
Yeah, absolutely. And probably the way that you got there, not exactly something that you're
Well,
like electing for. You're like, oh, that's the only path. I don't know. That's not my direction. It is true though that
fair.
like I wish we had more optionality, but instead on the way there, maybe let's just get better health
Or like,
medicine for people of all
switches.
genders.
I
That'd
would
be
love a
nice.
switch, like, okay, not going to use the uterus. I'm just going to turn it off. Like, I'm not going to need that. I'm just going to turn it off. They don't let
Well,
you
in
do
a
that.
way, I think they call that IUDs and birth control.
I suppose. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it has body-wide effects, but yeah.
Yeah. But it'd be kind of nice. But like you're picking it out, you're getting ready to, like you're an embryo and you're like looking at your options. They sent you the brochure and you're like, okay, I'm gonna have, an extra arm would actually be really useful too, to be honest. So I mean, if we're gonna go there, but
I'm still holding out for the extra vag. I mean, come on now.
It was amazing having you on the show. You were perfect for the Peculiar Book Club. We didn't get into that juicy description and discussion of fat, but you guys should go get the book because she does an amazing job talking about it in the book, and you can. So I'm really excited.
I gotta know before we leave the math pun on your shirt. There's something on your shirt. We can barely see it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's see.
It's all fun and games until someone loses an eye. The square root -4 = 2.
Square root of -4 equals 2. It's all fun and games until, sorry, I'll do it for your podcast listeners. Square root of -4 equals 2. It's all fun and games until someone loses an eye.
Oh.
It's a really bad joke. It's like a math joke.
Clearly, me
My
and Brandy
dad
did
bought it for
not
my
excel in
son.
math class.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm sorry for
There you go.
myself.
Yeah,
for
we've
all
got
of
Sarika's doing
you.
this too. Everyone's like, oh, imaginary
Yeah.
numbers.
Remember the eye? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. The peculiars have got you. They got you. The answer should be 2I.
I couldn't
There
be
we
the
are.
only one who was just catching the top of the shirt going, I know there's a pun
There's
somewhere.
something going on there.
Yeah.
All right.
There
Well,
is an equation on my boobs right now. That
I
is
actually
true.
I have one that is the equation for going downhill, and it says this is how I roll. So I mean, I'm with you on that. I've got a couple of them. Mark has one that says that is may the
Puns.
force be with you, and it's also it's a force. He's an engineer, you know. Anyway, you guys, thank you for being with us. Davey, thank you for sticking it out. We really appreciate it. And thank all of you for being at a place where, if you're weird, you're family.
You got the blue bottle blues when you wake up in the night. Don't make a big mistake, 'cause you can never make it right. When you reach out for the vial, feel the ridges in the glass. It's a matter of survival, baby, better watch your back. There is no antidote. There is no antidote. There is no antidote.